So, okay, just a very short presentation of myself. I was having some deja vu just 20 minutes, let's say in the last half an hour, because there were presentation regarding my past activity that was the leader of train communication network. But now, because my activity now is to be the chairman of ICTC9, obviously I had to leave the activity of preparing the standard. What is also important is for security is that I am also a member of the ACSEC. The ACSEC is the advisory committee of IEC for security, and it is a committee that was set up to address the problem of security and to see how to guide the people that is preparing standards of any kind to introduce, if the case, security aspects. So this is about a little bit of history. The problem of security was a problem that was addressed by IC as a transversal issue. And so an ad hoc group, that is the ad hoc group 52, was set up considering that the information security and data privacy are a matter that may be of interest of all the technical committees within IEC. So it is really a transversal issue that is necessary to coordinate activities related to the information security and data privacy. And this ad hoc group was an ad hoc group that was mainly set up to provide some advising to the SMB, that is the Standardization Management Board of IC, just to know how to proceed on this matter. And what was for sure considered is that the technical committee, they have to be guided. In fact, it was seen that there were a lot of activities in the field of security, but these were not coordinated. So in 2014, the IC Standardization Management Board decided to set up ACSEC. ACSEC initially was called ACOSEC, but then no one was pronouncing the O, and so it was decided to change the name in ACSEC. Initially, this was the acronym of Advisory Committee on Security, but very soon it was clarified that if we speak of security in general, we are speaking also of physical security. But this is not the real task of this committee. This committee is for information security and data privacy, so it's referred only to what is called in general cybersecurity. And so it was decided to change the name and no more to call it Advisory Committee on Security, but Advisory Committee on Information Security and Data Privacy. Which is the scope of the committee? The scope of the committee is mainly to first see which is the state of the art and which is the situation for standardization on security, and to collect all the point of view and the ideas, and then to prepare a guide that can guide inside IC all the technical committees and working groups that are developing standards and that may be aware of security aspect, maybe they are not also aware, and so they have to read the guide, to use the guide, and if the case, to include safety aspects in the standardization work. This advisory committee was really well balanced because there were representatives first from most of the active national committees, and you see on the left that Brazil, China, Denmark, France, Germany, Japan, Netherlands, Republic of Korea, Spain, United Kingdom, and United States of America, they were nominating an expert. But then there were also representatives of the technical committees inside IC that are supposed to have the possibility to address security or to be affected by security. And particularly, obviously, there are some committees that is well known, like the TC65, because this is a committee very active since a lot of years on security. But there is, for example, the TC9 that is chaired by me, and I am the representative, because it's clear that with the digitalization of railway, the security is really an issue. Let's go to see now what is the Guide 120 that at the moment is not fully published, let's say, because it is published, but it is published within the technical committees in IC that are involved. And now we are collecting comments and we are preparing the final draft that will be then published and available for all. So the guide was submitted to this first publication in January 2017. The comments were received, and the comments are already partly worked out, and the rest will be worked out in October in a final meeting in Japan, and then the document will be ready for the final text. You see which is the sequence for reaching the publication. So in the moment we are in this stage, the stage 3, and we are very near to the stage 4. The stage 4 will be in November, and then after I think 2 months we will be ready for the publication. So I think the publication will be for sure at the beginning of 2018. What is more is that we are not, in the ACSEC, we have not only worked out a guide, but because we have collected a lot of documents. I can tell you are more than 700. It's crazy. We have collected 700 documents around the world that are dealing with security. And so we have put these documents in a list, and the list will be available in 2018 as a tool on the web of IC. And we have chosen this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 keywords. And so when this list of documents will be available on the IC website. You can browse inside the list, and you can use one of these keywords. For example, you can use the keywords committee, let's say the TC9, the railway committee, and you can have the list reduced only to the documents that are relevant for railway. Or you can use, for example, the type of publication, because the documents, I was using the word documents and not standard, because are not only standards. We have standards, we have specification, we have report, we have many different type of publication within this 700 documents. And so this, I think, it will be a very useful tool. Now let's go a little bit inside the guide, just to give you a very short overview. I will reduce the time, thank you. The guide is taking into consideration the threats that you may have in security that are confidentiality, integrity, availability, and non-repudiation, and which are the possible attacks. And this is something that can guide when you are producing standard and you want to address the problem. Then we have also made which a list, how to say, which is the approach for IT in security, that may be to have a base security standard or a group security standard or product security standard or guidance in security and test in security. And you can see also some reference documents that are already published. One important thing that was many times said this morning which is the relation between safety and security. The opinion of ACSEC is this one. Until now, safety, both in automation and in railways, it is considered only taking into consideration the risks that are coming from statistical or involuntary action. But if you create a relationship with security and safety, you have to change the paradigm, and the paradigm has to be changed to considering voluntary action. So, it's not necessary to change the standard procedure for a risk assessment, but only to include in the possible risks also the risks that are coming from threats that are originated by security. But this means that you have to consider situation in which it is a voluntary action. And until now this is not the case, and so this is the reason why is really that this actual safety system, when is moving to be deeply digitalized, may create big problem and may facilitate the hackers' attack. This is more in depth. My presentation will be available on the ICT on Train site, so I don't, because also Carsten tell me that there is not enough time, okay? Then this is something that I have already said, that the security measures should not affect the functional safety. There is no change in the conceptual way of proofing the functional safety, but you have to include the security threats as one of the possible cause of risks. What is now happening following the preparation of the guide, because obviously the guide, as I told you, will be published in 2018, but it's already available for ICTC9, being ICTC9 one committee participating to the preparation. The guide now is distributed in ICTC9. I was distributing this guide. I am asking to all the members of ICTC9 to evaluate the guide, to report if there is something for changing the guide, but to evaluate also what we have to do within the ICTC9, so in the railway world, for applying this guide, what we have to do in revising the existing standards in order to assess if we have lost the security aspects inside, and which future standard may be requiring the insertion of security aspects. So, thank you.